Everyone is doing great this morning. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am so excited to chat with you guys this morning. I am really excited to chat with you all this morning. So I actually have two cameras going at the same time. As I mentioned to you all last night, I am actually traveling this week for work, and I'm in Chicago. So it's kind of nice to not have to be so far from home. However, I'm still out. I'm still not at home. And so since I'm not at home, obviously the technology isn't working to where I would like for it to do so. So as I always say, technology is great as long as it works. But nevertheless, I was determined to pop online this morning and be able to share with you, this is no longer guilty pleasure, but to be able to share with you all about self-care, sustaining a self-care routine. Okay, sustaining a self-care routine. It is possible. It is possible. And part of the reason why I wanted to be able to pop on with you this morning and talk about it is I want to be able to give you some quick tips that'll allow you to do so. All right. So as leaders, we know that it's really important for us to make sure that we are doing everything that we need to do so that we can serve others. And all month long, we've been talking about self-care. What self-care is. We've identified that it is the intentional act of taking care of one's mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual health. We talked about the benefits once you start to do so. And we've also talked about, as leaders, how it's vital that we do so. So let me back all the way up, because this is another chance for us to get it right, another chance for us to grow and glow together, and another chance for us to be empowered. I'm Dr. Lacey of drlacey.com, and I am so excited that you would take the time to invest in yourself. So as I mentioned on yesterday, if you happen to watch my live yesterday, I am on the road for work. I'm in Chicago, so I'm really close to home, which is always better than having to be across the country. However, it's still being away from home, and with that comes travel. Yesterday, I shared with you all, if you happen to be on IG, I shared with you all just the list of all the places that I had to visit last year for work. And when I tell you it went all the way from San Diego to Charlotte across the country, it speaks to even more so the reason and the importance of maintaining a healthy and a focused self-care routine. So here are 4 tips that'll help you, 4 steps that'll help you once you start to implement and practice them to ensure that you have your self-care routine down. All right. So number 1 is to simply move something. Move something. And I don't say exercise intentionally, but I do say move something, because you want to carve out about 20 minutes of your time, 20-minute increments within your schedule. So that might be getting up and taking a walk from your desk. That might be doing some quick stretches as soon as you get up in the morning. That might be taking a walk after dinner or going for that quick run right before you're making dinner. Regardless as to what it is, you want to pencil that time in for self-care every single day for self-care activities. Now, here's the difference that some people might not share with you. You want to do, above all else, what you enjoy. So there's some people who are like, if you want to practice self-care, you have to have a yoga routine. You have to practice yoga. But you may not like yoga. You may not enjoy yoga. And so you should not feel compelled to have to complete a yoga routine or have a yoga practice, as they call it. So you want to really take the time at the end of the day to always remember what gets scheduled gets done, and take the time to experiment with your schedule and figure out what is ideal for you. Right? Movement can happen during different times of the day, but whatever resonates best with you is what's for you. Whatever resonates best with you is what's for you. All right? So if you found yourself, skipping down the street, that counts, right? All movement counts. Don't let anyone tell you that if you don't do this specific type of movement, that it does not count as self-care, all right? So first things first, you want to move something, and you want to ensure you try to schedule yourself to do so during different times of the day. Modifying the activity is always easier than trying to start a new activity, right? So if you modify your activity, it's going to make it easier for you to stick to it than switching activities every single week, okay? So this leads to step number 2. Step number 2 is establish your non-negotiables. What are those things that are your ride and live that you are determined that regardless, this has got to happen. This is for me. If nothing else, I've got to make sure I get this in, right? There is power in the word of no. There is power when you start to set your boundaries for yourself. And so in order to preserve your commitment to a self-care routine, you must also simply preserve your time. As quiet as it's kept, we all only have the same 24 hours in the day. It doesn't matter if you're a prince or a pauper, right? A princess or a pauper, right? We all have the same 24 hours in the day. And because we all have the same 24 hours in the day, that also means we all are constrained to those limitations of time. So we have to make the decision that I'm going to carve out this bit of time for my personal care, and I'm going to ensure that this is a priority for me, right? So please, 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 I behoove you, do not be fooled by the myth that self-care is selfish. That couldn't be further from the truth. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is caring for oneself because you care enough for those around you. This simply connects to your schedule, as we just talked about. When you set those non-negotiables, you are also connecting it to your schedule and the importance of your schedule, right? Personally, for me, if it's not on my schedule, if it's not on my calendar, it does not exist. If it's not there, it does not exist. People will say, oh, well, I made sure I shared this, da, da, da. If you didn't send me a calendar invite, I don't mean any harm, but it literally does not exist. So personally, you have got to decide how you set your own priorities, how they're scheduled in your day or week or month, and really decide and determine that self-care is going to be one of them, okay? So number 3, you want to embrace the process. As you hear me always say, it's from process to practice, right? So there is that inner tape that might start to play that says, things like, I promise I was going to go to the gym today. I promise I was going to be better this month. I promise I was going to do better this year, get a massage every week, remind myself to meditate, journal, pray more. You get the picture? I'm sure all of us have had that experience of hearing that tape playing in our head. But we have got to hit stop on the tape. We can't continue to listen to that tape. That rhetoric, that tape that's playing in our head, it's not helping us as individuals to continue to grow and glow to the next level, right? It's not helping us to really think about what is and what can assist me in having my sustainable process. So remember, be gentle with yourself. It's okay if you haven't had the opportunity to make it to the gym this week, make it to, that time to journal this month. It's all right. Remember, it's from process to practice, right? And because that is the case, it is just that. It is a process. So it may not always be there. There may be times when you're frustrated. However, the most important thing is to not give up. All right. So here's the 4th step to help you to remember how to sustain a self-care practice. Step number 4 on your self-care journey comes in many forms. And so step number 4 and our final step today is to enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. And I know it may sound a little cliche, but we have to remember that self-care comes in many different forms. And for some people, it means taking 15 minutes each morning to sit in a favorite chair with a cup of tea. It may mean taking an additional 5 minutes just to lay down and relax and really think about all you're grateful for, right? For me personally, it's getting that manicure and pedicure and reading a great book. All of those things help to feed into my self-care practice that help me to enjoy the process. Now, again, it doesn't matter what your routine is. It just matters that you have a routine, right? The most important thing of that routine is that you want it to be something that makes you feel better, that makes you feel empowered, that centers you in your leadership. And once you start to do those things, you really start to see the difference, okay? So what does the research say? And this may be a little different than what I've reported in the past, but I thought it really vital and important and interesting. The Combahee River Collective is a group of Black feminists who date back to the mid-1970s. The most general statement of their politics at the present time would be that they are actively committed to struggling against racial, sexual, heterosexual, and class oppression, and that they see this particular task as the development of integrated analysis and practice based upon the fact that the majority of systems of oppression are interlocking. In other words, the same system that's holding down a Black female is also holding down a Caucasian female, that's also holding down a middle class person, the same that's affecting a person who might be in poverty. So the writers of the Combahee River Collective Black Feminist Statement, they offer this intent as a point. The psychological toll of being a Black woman and the difficulties this presents in reaching political consciousness and doing political work can never be underestimated. Now, this is really the key point I want you to hear. There is a very low value placed upon Black women's psyches in this society, which is both racist and sexist. This speaks to the point of why we must have a self-care routine. If everyone in the community and in society is bearing down upon you, be you a Black woman, a white woman, a Latino woman, a Muslim woman, whatever your case may be, an Asian woman, you have got to take the time to pull yourself back up. As you know, when I started drlacey.com, my entire intent is as a consultant to support current and aspiring female leaders to go from process to practice through education and empowerment. This is the key here. The two go hand in hand. So what can you do today from the classroom to the boardroom to start to sustain your self-care practice? Well, as we discussed earlier, simply take the time to schedule it on your calendar. This is something regardless as to what your position might be in the organization or in the company that you work for or in the organization or company that you lead, that can be done today. Make the choice. I'm going to go for a walk today. I'm going to read a book today. I'm going to paint my nails today. I'm going to cook dinner for my family. Whatever it is that is sustainable and enjoyable to you, that's what you want to do. Above all else, it is important to keep in mind that it is your self-care and that you owe it to yourself. All right, so here's your point to practice. And today's point to practice, as you know, all month long, our point to practice have been coming from strong African American people that connect to our history, because we are Black history. And all month long, we've been celebrating Black history. And it comes from Florence Ray Kennedy, also known as Flo Kennedy, who is an American American lawyer, feminist, civil rights advocate, lecturer, and activist. Kennedy used intersectionality as her approach to activism. So again, how those different roles, regardless of gender, class, or race, all connect together. In 1997, Kennedy received the Lifetime Courageous Activist Award and would pass away 3 years later. And this is what she has to say. And I love this quote because it is so powerful. You can't dump 1 cup of sugar into the ocean and expect to get syrup. If everybody sweetened her own cup of water, then things would begin to change. So that's my question to you today. What are you going to do to sweeten your own cup of water? Send me a DM. Write it in the comments below. Let me know, what are you going to do today to sweeten your own cup of water? I want to continue to encourage and challenge you. If this information is something that has been inspiring to you, encouraging you, empowering you, please take the time to share it with another lady leader that you know who could benefit from this information. As I always say, I am so excited and proud that you would take the time to invest in yourself. Next month, we begin a brand new month. It's March. It's my birthday month. I actually celebrate my birthday this Saturday. I'm super excited to do so with my family. And next month, we are talking about who's in your tribe. All month long, we'll be talking about who's in your tribe and why they're there and how to ensure those relationships are being leveraged appropriately. As I always say, thanks again for joining me. Thanks for taking the time to invest in yourself. And from process to practice, grab your stilettos and let's go. Bye. Thanks so much for joining me today, Facebook.